What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 59, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode will be my top 7 buy low players heading into week 3 of fantasy football. Now, I was a little late on one player because I'm pumping out so many videos. I missed it, but I will show you a tweet that I had on him about 10 days ago to buy him even before last night's game. And if you guys want to check out my sell high players as well, I just dropped that video before. And before we dive into it, guys, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on so you know when I'm live. We will be live tonight at 5 p.m. again with 2 special guests of mine that are great fantasy football experts as well, and Big Draft Energy and Michael Wright. And if you don't make the live video, drop the comments in there. I try to get to every single one of them. I'm trying to help you guys win your weekly matchups and get you that ultimate goal of that trophy this season, guys. And let's get it popping. Starting off with my number 1 buy low player, it is going to be Garrett Wilson. And like I said, when this video started, I got this video out late before the Thursday night game, so all these rankings aren't with week 3 updated, right? So here's the tweet that I put out on September 14th, which was 6 days ago. So you guys want to follow my Twitter, I do drop my content on there before it hits the YouTube videos. And I type out Garrett Wilson, my number 1 buy low player. His usage from Aaron Rodgers in the 49ers game was held by possession of the game because the Niners doubled the clock, doubled the plays. They had a top 5 defense with Hufanga back out there. Still played 96% of the snaps, had 11 targets, which was 5th in the NFL, and he's still getting a 38% target share. Now, Aaron Rodgers still coming off the Achilles, 40 years old, trying to get his feet back together and all that. I get all that. And then you saw on Thursday Night Football how good he looked, right? And now you have to look at this as well. The San Francisco 49ers, Chardavius Ward, top 5 PFF ranked corner, guarded Garrett Wilson all game. Tennessee Titans, week 2, Ladarius Sneed, top 5 cover corner, one of the best in the league lockdown corners. Then he gets to New England Patriots on Thursday night last night, and you saw Christian Gonzalez shadow him all game. He did beat him for a touchdown to save his day at the end here, but Garrett Wilson still doesn't have over 12 fantasy points yet in 0.5 PPR on the season. And you saw the connection picking up. You see it coming. And now their schedule. He is going to draw Pat Surtain next week as well, which is going to be a tough matchup. It will probably be the run game again. And it'll probably be a low scorer again. But after tomorrow's game, he will finally open up an amazing schedule where he doesn't face a top corner for about 5 to 6 weeks until he gets Christian Gonzalez again here in New England. So Garrett Wilson right now at wide receiver 34 heading in. Still playing 94% of the snaps, 17 targets, 10 receptions, 117 yards. These numbers are going to elevate, guys. He is going to explode this season. It is just scratching the surface, and Aaron Rodgers looked like the Aaron Rodgers of old last night. He was running around like the wheels were turning, man. It was crazy, and I can't wait to see what this Jets offense is going to do for the rest of the season, and I'm trying to buy Garrett Wilson as my number 1 player to buy. My number 2 buy low player, and this one is absolute gold because the value is so cheap right now, and that is DeAndre Swift. So playing 68% of the snaps in the first 2 weeks, RB40 overall. You look at it and it looks terrible. 24 attempts, 48 yards, averaging 2 yards per carry, 4 receptions, 24 yards, 0 touchdowns. He literally has 11 fantasy points in 2 games. But, and managers are going to panic here, guys. But this is why you go get DeAndre Swift right now. They played the Tennessee Titans, a top 5 run D, the Houston Texans, a top 5 run D, and now you get this schedule all the way to week 9 here, right? So let's just take a look at it. The Indianapolis Colts just gashed by the Packers with Malik Willis. The LA Rams are about to get toasted. Just got toasted last week as well by the 49ers. The Carolina Panthers, we don't even need to talk about, probably the worst defense in the NFL. Jacksonville Jaguars have been good against the run, but sustainable against the pass, and he can have a big game there. Washington and Arizona. This is a fantasy pot of gold right here. Go get this man, DeAndre Swift, at a very, very cheap cost right now because he's going to see more attempts. He's going to see more yards. They just played 2 brutal opponents. And I almost thought about like throwing in a Caleb Williams buy too, but I just can't with the way he's throwing the football right now. But DeAndre Swift, guys, go get this man. My number 3 buy low player right now is Jaden Reed. And this doesn't hinge on Jordan Love coming back this week. It doesn't even matter to me if he doesn't play this week at all. Jaden Reed is still a smash buy right now. And here's why. So played 68% of the snaps through 2 games. But what you have to look at is week 1 was 72% of the snaps. Then week 2, they played the Indianapolis Colts without Jordan Love, ran the ball 52 times. So he wasn't out there as much. Still the wide receiver 4 on the season. 8 targets, 6 receptions, 147 yards, 70 rushing yards, 2 total TDs. The gadget plays that they scheme up for him, even on the ground, are massive fantasy value. This guy is a touchdown machine. As a rookie, he was supposed to be nothing last year and still had 8 receiving touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. And right now, he is the number 1 catch rate wide receiver at 75%. This man is pure gold. He was pure gold in the draft. He is Jordan Love's wide receiver 1. It is not going to be Christian Watson. It is not going to be Romeo Doubs. It is not going to be Dontavian Wicks. None of that is going to happen. Jaden Reed is the guy you want. And it's coming off a game right here. We just have 5 points in Indianapolis. So owners are down. They're going to think that Jordan Love's injury is going to hamper him all year. I'm not worried about it at all. And again, even if Jordan Love doesn't come back this week, which I'd hope they'd hold him out at least, until he's healthy. But if he's out there grinding, Jaden Reed is a smash start and a very, very, very good value you could buy right now in fantasy football. My number 4 buy low player is George Pickens. And man, I love this buy right now if you can pull this off. So what you have to look at with George Pickens for the first 2 weeks of fantasy football is he had 11 points week 1 and 3 points week 2, or 3.9 week 2, right? He's playing 74% of the snaps. And week 1, he draws probably the best secondary in football with AJ Terrell, Simmons, and Bates in the Falcons secondary. Then he draws Denver week 2, who is Patrick Surtain, probably the second best lockdown corner in fantasy football. He shut down DK Metcalf the week before, and he's going to shut down Mike Evans this week, which is why I have Mike Evans on a sit this week. And now you get the Chargers, who are Asante Samuel Jr. and Christian Fulton. These are very beatable corners. Finally, he gets a plus matchup here. He's still wide receiver 14, so the value is still kind of medium right now. His targets are at 11, 8 receptions, 114 yards. He did take a rush for minus 10 yards on that reverse last week that was really, really ugly. But, at least he's getting a rush attempt, so you get a, different variation of how good this man is. And last week, you have to look at like the 65 yards of flags of a beautiful throw to Justin Fields made on the run on the right side of the field. And dude, he had Patrick Surtain draped on him, and he still made the catch, and they got called back for holding. And then he had another 20-yard bomb that was called back for holding. So his numbers are very skewed right now, and owners that don't pay attention to these things or watch the game, that just look at fantasy football, do not know this. George Pickens is one of the best man-to-man beaters, one of the best jump ball go-getters, and he is going to finally explode with the upcoming schedule that he has coming. The Chargers, the Colts, the Cowboys were just toasted by the Saints. Las Vegas Raiders. Then he gets a tough one with the Jets, then the New York Giants, then Washington. Those are 7+ matchups coming for George Pickens. Go get this man. My number 5 buy low player, and I even had a guy tweet me today on Twitter that Tank Dell was on his wire in a 12-man league, which is absolutely bonkers to me. But it's Tank Dell. And Tank Dell is currently wide receiver 66, playing 66% of snaps, 11 targets, 4 receptions. He had a bad game, too. He dropped like 3 balls. One was wide open. His foot kind of stubbed across the middle for like a 25, 30-yard catch. And he could have had yak afterwards, but he kind of dropped the ball and stumbled on his feet. So he only has 37 receiving yards. But here is the plus side. He just had 5 rushing attempts last game. And now you have Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce down this week. So we don't even know if it's going to be Cam Akers or they could practice tomorrow, be out there limited, whatever it is. But Tank Dell, when C.J. Stroud was drafted, was C.J. Stroud's handpicked guy. I know that Nico Collins looks amazing right now. But if you look at week 1, when he had 7.4 points, he had 10 targets and 40 yards, right? But he had 3 bombs that were caught, that were called back for flags. So really he has 10 targets. So he led the Texans in targets in week 1. Week 2 was a blundered week. It was very, very ugly for Tank Dell. And if you can go get this guy for the cheap value that he is right now, it's absolutely insane. This man is coming off a major injury. It's going to be a slow start to the season. He's going to get it going, and he's going to hit so many bombs the rest of the season with all the weapons they have. They cannot cover all of these guys with the defense, no matter what defense you have out there. It's going to be a nightmare. And Tank Dell is one of my favorite wide receiver buys right now. My number 6 buy low target is Chris Olave. And there's multiple ways to look at the Saints here. So he's playing 75% of the snaps, right? But you also have to think when you're looking at that snap share right now, the Saints have scored 90 points in 2 games and blown out the Carolina Panthers. They're up 40-0 at halftime. And they blew out the Cowboys, and the starters didn't play the last 10 minutes down the stretch. So when you're looking at that snap share, that is, deflated because they've blown everyone out. He's still wide receiver 34, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 92 receiving yards, and he's getting rushing work, which is what you like in fantasy football. Still hasn't found the end zone, but here's another thing you have to look at as well. in these games. Derek Carr had only passed for 23 attempts in the first game and 16 attempts in the second game, right? The volume hasn't even happened yet because they just keep killing people. And if you don't score early, like Rashid Shaheed hits a bomb, Galvin Kamara takes a 70-yard touchdown. This offense looks explosive under Clint Kubiak. I think it's going to be for real for the season, but we're about to find out with a test here. So you get Philly, you get Atlanta, you get KC, you get Tampa. They have 4 playoff team battles coming up for the next 4 weeks here in games where, I mean, shit, if they blow them out, I'll be really, really surprised, right? I didn't think they'd blow out the Cowboys like that, but I took the Saints to win, and I said Carr would have a good day there as well. But this game against Philly, I think, is going to be different, even though they're at home. The game against Atlanta will be different. The game against KC will be different. And the game against Tampa will be different. And if they blow everyone out, I'm going to be freaked out. But now is the time to go get Chris Olave, who only has 13 fantasy points on the year. He's averaging 6.5 fantasy points. The owners are panicking. Even though the Saints are winning, you still paid a premium for Chris Olave. And right now, you can get that premium at a discount, which I am trying to do in every single league. Because I don't, like I said, if you watch my sell high video, I don't like boomer bust players like Shaheed. The volume for Olave is going to pick up, guys. It's just he hasn't even been out there to get it. And right now, you can go get him for so cheap. It's absolutely insane to me. Last but definitely not least here, my number 7 buy low player is Brandon Aiyuk. Now, this one's a little spicier here because now you have Debo down 2 to 3 weeks. Now you have the Kittle hamstring update we don't really know about. You have CMC on IR. So the owner is definitely going to think that everything's going to run through Aiyuk. So he's probably going to be a little higher priced right now. But he was on my sit-up for the first 2 weeks. I said he's going to ramp it up. I said about week 3, week 4, he's going to start popping. And now you have week 3 and week 4 where he just may get just force-fed the ball here with all the injuries that are happening. And you get the LA Rams here. The LA Rams are 428 average points against them, last in the NFL. 8 touchdowns against them, last in the NFL. This is going to be an absolute smash play here with all the injuries they have. But the 49ers have a ton of injuries on offense, but they don't on defense. The Rams are really going to struggle. The opportunities are going to be here. And then you get New England, Arizona, Seattle, right? So New England, you could draw Chris Gonzalez. We don't know if Kittle will be out there or not, so that'll make a difference there. And if I'm looking at Arizona, that's a blow-up game. I'm looking at Seattle, that's a blow-up game. And then Kansas City, that could be a blow-up game depending on how it goes. And Brandon Aiyuk has gotten better every single year since he's been a pro in the NFL. So if you want to look at anything from 21 to 23, right, his numbers just go up and up and up and up every single time. He is going to be the guy the next couple weeks here and probably the rest of the season wide receiver wise. And if I can go get him for it's going to be a spicy value. Like I said, they paid 3rd round premium. He only has 8 fantasy points on the year, which is ridiculous. Or what is it? 11.1 fantasy points, because averaging 5 points a game right now. And they might be panicking, but they're also going to look at it like everyone's heard if they're smart. So again, it will be a spicy purchase, but I'm willing to pay that premium right now because after, 2 weeks from now, you won't even have that opportunity. So this is one of the guys I'm trying to target, even if the value costs me to get him. That is it for episode 59, guys. My top 7 buy low players in week 3 of fantasy football. Before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that like, hit that heart, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on. We will be later live tonight again with 2 special guests in Big Draft Energy and Michael Ripe, 2 fantasy football brilliant minds that are going to be on the show with me. We're going to be going over landscapes of everything fantasy football. And if you can't make the live episode, always drop any questions you have in the comment. My goal is to answer every single one on the season and help you guys win that weekly matchup to get you that ultimate goal of that championship this season. And that's it for me, guys. I'll catch you in the next one or possibly later live tonight. SleezBall out.